You know that feeling, right? Scrolling online, maybe late night TV, and boom, there it is.
Hmm.
The next huge thing in fitness, always revolutionary, guarantees amazing results like minutes a day.
Yeah, and the person showing it off already looks perfect.
Totally. We've all felt that pull, that idea of a quick fix.
Oh, absolutely. That marketing is just, it's incredibly good at tapping into that wish for easy transformation.
Yeah.
Results now.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today. The kind of wild, sometimes really strange world of fitness fads and trends.
Okay.
We've got the materials you sent over a really interesting blog post looking at trends back in like 2015, 2016.
Yeah, that one.
And this other great list that covers some of the biggest fads ever, basically right up to 2025.
So we get the sort of near-term view and the big historical picture. It's a good combo.
For sure. So our mission here is pretty clear. Let's try to figure out what makes something a fad here today, gone tomorrow, versus a real lasting trend.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely look at some memorable examples from the sources, maybe have a chuckle or two, or a cringe.
Yeah, maybe a cringe. But most importantly, what can we actually learn for our own fitness? You know,
Yeah.
how do you cut through the hype? Find what works for you. Okay, let's get into it.
Right. And I think a really crucial place to start is that distinction the first source makes, the Bellingham Distance Project blog. It references the ACSM survey.
The American College of Sports Medicine one.
Exactly, that big annual survey. The blog asks, what is the real difference between a fad and a trend in fitness?
It's the fundamental question, isn't it? So what did the blog say?
Well, it gives definitions. A trend is a general development or change in a situation or in the way that people are behaving. Key thing.
Yeah.
It sticks around for years.
Okay, so it have longevity. Changes
Exact-
things long term.
Shows it has a real impact. Whereas a fad, that's a fashion that is taken up with great enthusiasm for a brief period.
So it just explodes. Everyone's doing it, talking.
And then it fizzles out just as fast.
Yeah. And the blog uses this to explain why some things are always high on those ACSM trend lists, like educated and experienced fitness professionals
Right, makes sense.
and strength training. These aren't flashy new things, but they're consistently important trends. They just work.
They're foundational, proven. Okay. The blog also mentions stuff like bodyweight training and HIIT.
Yeah, high-intensity interval training. Those were really climbing the ranks around 2016, becoming solid trends.
And HIIT got popular because it's quick, right?
Yeah,
Fits into busy lives.
exactly. A lot of bang for your buck time-wise. That's a big driver.
So understanding this fad versus trend thing is kind of key to navigating all the noise.
Definitely. The blog even mentioned Zumba as an example of a fad huge instant success. But then it faded relatively quickly from those top trend spots.
Okay, yeah, I remember the Zumba craze. So speaking of things that maybe didn't last forever or ended up in the garage,
Ah, yes.
let's talk about that historical look from the other source. Those late night infomercials, the golden age. Oh, totally. Watching TV, half asleep, being promised miracles from your living room couch. That source highlights some real classics. Equipment fads that were everywhere.
And often became, as the source jokes, pricey clothes hangers.
Exactly. Like the Nordic track.
Ah, the skier. Big in the late 80s, early 90s.
Huge. And yeah, the clothes hanger image is just perfect. Probably true for a lot of them. They did go through bankruptcy, but apparently still make more, standard machines now.
And Bowflex.
Yeah,
Early 90s, too.
right. With the bendy rods instead of weights. That was pretty popular for a while. Versatile.
But it had some issues. Recalls.
Yeah, some recalls, one sadly linked to a fatal incident, which definitely impacted its popularity. That company, Nautilus, also made the tread climber, that treadmill stair climber elliptical combo thing.
Wow, and oh my God, the ab gadgets, there were so many.
Never ending.
The ab roller comes to mind. Just a wheel with handles, basically.
Yep, replacing the simple sit-up with this
Yeah.
clunky thing. And the source lists its descendants. Ab wheel, ab lounge, ab rocket. The abs. Everything. All promising killer abs, mostly just, collecting dust.
And you can't forget the Thigh Master.
Suzanne Summers, how could I forget?
And the guy who invented the mood ring was behind it too, apparently.
No way.
Yeah, just squeezing this thing between your thighs, often while watching TV. A total late 80s, early 90s vibe.
Probably not doing a whole lot, realistically.
Well, as the expert in the source says later, spot reducing doesn't exist. You can't just squeeze fat away from one spot.
Right. But some of these fads were just out there. The vibrating belt from the 60s?
Well, yeah, it's going to jiggle the fat off you.
Did not work, shocker.
Completely ineffective. The source confirms it.
Yeah.
And weirdly, variations have popped up again more recently. Still doesn't work. Vibration doesn't really burn calories like that.
And the shake weight, that thing went viral.
Mostly because it looks so suggestive, right?
Totally. Perfect for parodies.
But it's sold.
Yeah.
Millions of them, like $40 million worth.
Wow. For basically a dumbbell you just shake.
Yeah, questionable effectiveness compared to actual weightlifting.
Then there's the power plate. Feels newer, but the tech's old.
From the Soviet space program in the 60s, yeah. It's that expensive vibrating platform.
Right, celebrities use it sometimes. Claims it builds muscle in 10 minutes.
Claims involuntary muscle contractions do the work. Strength, definition, all in 10 minutes. Again, the science on vibration for that kind of result is shaky at best. Maybe some therapy uses, but replacing a workout? Probably not.
So, what's the pattern here with all these gadgets?
It seems to be. Catchy marketing, maybe a celebrity tie-in, huge promises of ease or speed.
Shortcuts.
Exactly, promises of shortcuts, often without much real science backing up the main claims. They prey on that desire for an easy fix.
Okay, so moving from the stuff you buy to the ways people actually moved. Classes and styles.
Right. Some of these had real staying power, or at least interesting stories, like aerobics.
Developed way back, but Jane Fonda made it huge, yeah.
Dr. Kenneth Cooper developed it in '68.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fonda in the '80s, massive. The videos, the look, sold 17 million copies of the original. Still effective cardio. She even came back with more in 2010.
That's longevity. What about Tebow?
Billy Blank's 90s sensation, that mix of taekwondo and boxing. Super popular.
And did it actually work?
Yeah, the source says it's a solid cardio workout. It really paved the way for that whole cardio boxing trend we still see.
Okay. Pilates is on the list too. Developed much earlier.
Early 20th century, Joseph Pilates. It's presented as a real enduring trend. Mind-body focus, core strength, often uses specific equipment.
Lots of people still do it.
Millions, yeah. People report benefits beyond just the physical, like feeling more centered.
The source mentions roller skating and rollerblading.
Fun becoming fitness. Skating in the 70s, blading in the 90s, both good workouts for sure.
And boot camps. Those came and went and came back.
Kinda. Big in the 90s, that military-inspired group exercise, often with ex-military instructors. Team focus, high intensity. Dipped a bit, but definitely came back strong.
Spinning. Or Soul Cycle. That was huge a few years back.
Still is, really.
Yeah.
Intense stationary bike workouts. Soul Cycle added the weights, the music, that whole immersive experience. Very popular.
Okay, now for a couple that are maybe a bit more niche or debated, partner yoga.
Yeah, the blog mentions this. Ancient roots in some tantric traditions, apparently. Using another person for leverage, deeper stretches.
And the source had different takes on it.
Yeah, a really interesting contrast. One yoga teacher quoted sees it as great for connection, waking up a room, helps people interact.
Okay.
But then a guru, Dharmanidhi Sarasvati, basically says, well, it might feel good, but it's not really yoga in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
The goal of yoga is internal union. Postures are just one small tool.
Huh. Interesting distinction.
Yeah, and the blogger had that funny reaction, seeing a couple and thinking, gross, love.
Relatable awkwardness.
But the blog kind of lands on, okay, terminology aside, it's exercise, it involves positive touch and connection, which generally isn't a bad thing.
Fair enough. And then pole dancing classes or stripper aerobics.
Right. Started popping up early 2000s. Jeff Costa's Cardio Striptease, Carmen Electra had DVDs.
Showing up in regular gyms even.
Yeah. The source describes it as, well, combining aerobics and stripping moves.
And the verdict?
The source basically says, look, nothing wrong with aerobics, nothing wrong with stripping, but, quote, somehow the combination of the two just never really worked for us.
Okay, so personal preference plays a role too. It's not just about effectiveness.
Exactly. Cultural comfort levels, perception.
Yeah.
It all feeds into whether something sticks around or just becomes a quirky fad.
All right, let's shift again. Fads promising specific results, easy weight loss, often stuff you eat or put on your body.
Ah, yes. The blog mentions fit teas or detox teas.
Huge online push for those, right? Bloggers claiming they flush toxins, melt pounds.
But the dietitian quoted in the source kind of pours cold water on that. Says it's hard to tell if they do anything beyond the diet and exercise people do with them. And crucially, many contain laxatives or diuretics.
Ah, so it's just water weight loss.
Pretty much. Makes the scale go down temporarily, but it's not fat. Comes right back when you stop. Not really boosting metabolism or burning fat in any meaningful way. Maybe some minor positives like hydration or replacing a snack, but no magic bullet.
Diet pills. Those have a darker history.
Oh, definitely. The source notes they go way back, but The recent reputation is pretty bad. It lists some really dangerous ones like Fen-Phan,
Caused heart problems, right? Fatal ones.
yeah, fatal pulmonary hypertension, heart disease, and ephedra linked to strokes, high blood pressure, the death of that football player, Steve Belcher. Really scary stuff.
And the source mentions the current situation, GLP-1s.
Right, like Ozempic, Wegovy. As of 2025, they're called the latest medically induced weight loss trend. These are actual prescription meds working on hormones.
So different from those dodgy over-the-counter pills, a medical trend.
A very different category, yeah. Driven by pharma and doctors, not just marketing hype.
What about cleansing or juicing?
Also listed as fads. Liquid diets for days or weeks claiming to detox you.
But our bodies do that anyway, right? Liver, kidneys.
That's what the scientists and doctors in the source say. Your body cleans itself. These cleanses are often unnecessary, lack nutrients, potentially harmful.
Okay. What about shaping specific body parts? The blog mentions squats.
Yeah, fueled by Kardashian culture and Instagram. This huge focus on the booty, the Instagrammable ass.
A trainer in the source confirmed that goal.
And the source is like, look, squats are great. Focusing on glutes is good. But the fad part is the obsessive focus on just one body part, often ignoring balanced training. Squats are good, but not the only good thing.
Waist training belts, basically corsets.
Yeah, worn for hours, claiming to shrink your waist, attack fat with heat and compression, supposedly makes you eat less too.
But that expert quote again.
No shortcuts. And spot reducing doesn't exist. It can't just squeeze fat off your waist. Might temporarily compress you, maybe help posture awareness, but it's not causing fat loss there.
And toning shoes. Fit flops, remember those?
Oh gosh, yes. The weird-looking shoes that claim to tone your legs and butt just by walking.
Big companies made them, had celebs pushing them.
Yep. The source is pretty blunt, though. Highly skeptical they did anything for toning. Except maybe make you look just a little bit silly. Didn't deliver.
Technology's role seems huge now, too.
Definitely. The second source talks about the Wii Fit. Nintendo sold, what, 22 million?
That's massive.
Its big thing was getting sedentary people, lazy kids maybe, moving, yoga, strength, aerobic simulations.
Probably not the best workout, but better than nothing.
That's the source's take. For someone doing zero, it was some exercise. And that whole trend grew with Xbox Connect, PlayStation Move, still around in different forms.
And wearable technology, Fitbits, Apple Watches.
Everywhere now. Tracking steps, calories, sleep, everything. The blog notes the data needs to be compelling to keep you using it.
Seems like a trend, not a fad, right? High adoption.
Definitely looks like a trend. But the blog adds that counterpoint. Can it distract you from listening to your actual body? Fuel unhealthy competition.
Like always needing to beat yesterday's steps.
Yeah. So moderation, maybe combining it with just paying attention to yourself sometimes.
Online training is another big one mentioned. BBG, Fitness Blender.
Discussed in the blog as a major trend. Shift towards lifestyle planning. Being healthier, happier, not just weight loss.
Yeah.
BBG Kayla Itsines' program. Huge growth example.
It's a subscription, right? Workouts, nutrition.
Yeah, cardio like LSS, low intensity, steady state.
Yeah.
Walking, basically, and HIAT, resistance circuits. Need your own gear, usually. Big community aspect, too, progress pics, social media.
That helps keep people committed, probably.
For sure. Approachable, social accountability. But the blog also points out, hey, there's tons of great free stuff on YouTube. Be Fit, Fitness Blender. You can save money, still find community.
Good point. So across all this, we see things that clearly lasted and others that, well, flopped hard.
Totally. For timeless stuff, the second source brings up medicine balls.
Old school.
Super old school. Simple, effective for power, rehab. Not go anywhere.
Strength training, we already mentioned.
Yep.
Consistently top trend.
Absolutely vital, the blog stresses. Injury prevention, bone health, muscle mass, managing diseases. Just fundamental.
And Couch to 5K. Newer, but makes sense.
Yeah, the source loves it. Simple, gradual walk-run progression using apps gets inactive people moving safely, not harming anyone. We dig it. Can't argue with that. And the flops. We hit a lot already. Toning shoes,
Hick weight.
Thighmaster, Zumba, maybe is a fad that peaked. Vibrating belts definitely didn't work. Sauna suits.
Oh, yeah, those are dangerous, right? Just water weight loss.
Extremely dangerous. Risk dehydration, overheating, no real fat loss benefit.
And the Power Balance bracelets, the holographic sticker ones.
Total pseudoscience, claim performance benefits, zero evidence.
Yeah.
Got sued, went bankrupt. Classic flop based on hype.
Wow, so seeing all these fads, especially the ones that just didn't work, why do we keep falling for them? What's the appeal?
That's a great question. The sources point to a few things. That basic human desire for something new, exciting, better, faster, like the blog said.
We want the next big thing, confuse novelty with progress sometimes.
Yeah. And the marketing hammers that home. Quick fixes, amazing transformations, six-pack abs, often downplaying the actual effort involved.
Celebrity endorsements, social media, makes it seem legit or cool.
Huge factors.
Yeah.
Creates buzz, perceived credibility, even for silly stuff.
Community helps too, right? Like the partner yoga or boot camps.
Definitely. Feeling part of something makes it more engaging, easier to stick with, even if the method itself isn't revolutionary.
Fitting it into a busy life. HIIT, 10-minute promises.
Big appeal there.
Oh.
Taps right into that time crunch.
And sometimes it's fun.
Yeah. Tabo, aerobics, skating, spinning, even Wii Fit. If it's enjoyable, you're more likely to do it. That's a powerful driver on its own.
So what's the takeaway message from the sources for us, trying to navigate all this?
The blog had some really good advice. Like, don't believe the hype. Chances are if it's too good to be true. You know how it goes.
Classic advice, but true. Real results take time.
Be wary of reviews, endorsements, especially from paid celebs.
But it wasn't totally negative, right? It also said,
It had this nice balance. But really, try anything once, see what works for you and your lifestyle, and don't take yourself so seriously. Find what you enjoy. Consistency comes from enjoyment.
that seems key. Be skeptical of the miracle cures, but open to trying things that might actually fit your life and be fun.
Exactly. And don't forget the basics that always work. Consistent movement, strength training, listening to your body.
Apply critical thinking. Question the hype. Look for actual evidence. Focus on sustainability and enjoyment for you. Don't chase the latest shortcut.
Right. The stuff that lasts: strength, cardio, walking, cycling it works because it's based on solid principles and adaptable.
Right.
The fads often just repackage old, failed ideas with new marketing, hoping we forgot.
This whole dive really highlights that constant battle, doesn't it? Wanting real progress versus being tempted by the easy fix.
Yeah, the technology changes, the marketing changes, infomercials become Instagram ads, but the basic human desires driving fads: ease, speed, transformation without the struggle. Those seem pretty constant.
And the lesson from history seems clear. Stick to the fundamentals, like strength training. Find movement you actually like doing. That's the foundation.
So maybe something for you listening to think about. Given this long, sometimes funny history of fitness fads, often just recycled ideas, what are you seeing today? What current trends, products, classes, maybe on your social feed, things friends are trying? Might just be tomorrow's Thigh Master, tomorrow's Power Balance bracelet.
How can you use what we talked about, skepticism, looking for evidence, focusing on enjoyment and consistency to tell the difference between real progress and just the next wave of hype?
Yeah, something to chew on during your next workout, or maybe while you're scrolling.